Hey, Milo. Today I'm going to read a book called Scuffy the Tugboat, because your mom told me that you wanted that book read. Scuffy the tugboat was sad. Scuffy was cross. He sniffed his blue smokestack. A toy store is no place for a red painted tugboat. And he sniffed his smokestack again. I was meant for bigger things. Perhaps you would not be so angry if you went sailing, said the man with the polka dot tie, and he owned the shop. So one night he took Scuffy home to his little boy. He filled the bathtub with water. Sail, little tugboat, said the little boy. I won't sail in a bathtub, said Scuffy. A tub is no place for a red painted tugboat. I was meant for bigger things. So the next day, the man with the polka dot tie and the little boy carried Scuffy to a little creek that started high up in the hills. And Milo, I know you've got a creek that's kind of near your house. If you ever had a little boat, you could take it down and have it sail there. Sail, little tugboat, said the man. It was spring, and the brook or the stream was full to the brim with water, and the water moved in a hurry, as all things move in a hurry when it's spring. Scuffy was in a hurry too. Come back, little tugboat, come back, cried the little boy as the hurrying brook carried Scuffy downstream. Not I, said Scuffy, not I. This is the life for me. And there he's going down, and the little boy and the man are trying to catch him. All that day, Scuffy sailed along, past the meadow filled with cowslips. Cowslips are these little yellow flowers. Past the women washing clothes in the creek. Past the woods filled with flowers. Cows came to the brook to drink. They stood in the cool water, and it was fun to sail between their legs and bump against their noses. It was fun to see them drink. But when a white and brown cow almost drank Scuffy instead of the water, Scuffy was frightened. This was not so fun. And then night came, and with it the moon. There was nothing to see but the quiet trees. Suddenly an owl called out, "Hoot, hoot, toot, toot," cried the little tugboat, and he wished he could see the smiling face of the man with the polka dot tie. And look here, there's a fish nibbling at the little boat. When morning came, Scuffy was cross instead of frightened. I was meant for bigger things. But which way should I go? There was only one way to go, and that was with the running water, where the two brooks met to form a little river. And with the river sailed Scuffy, the red painted tugboat. And here's a rabbit watching him go by now. He was proud when he sailed past villages. People build villages at the edge of my river, said Scuffy, and he straightened up his blue smokestack. One day, Scuffy's river joined a small one jammed with logs. Here were men in heavy jackets and great boots walking about on the floating logs, trying to fry them free. Toot, toot, let me through, demanded Scuffy. But the men paid no attention to him. They pushed the logs apart so they could drift with the river. Scuffy bumped along with the jostling logs. Ouch, she cried, as two logs bumped together. This is a fine river, said Scuffy, but it's very big and very busy. He was proud when he sailed under a bridge. My river is so wide and so deep that people must build bridges to cross it. The river moved through big towns now instead of villages. So it's probably a big town like Minneapolis where you live. And the river must be big like the Mississippi River. And the bridge over it was very, very wide. wide enough so that many cars and trucks and streetcars could cross all at one time. And here's little Scuffy down here with all those big ships. The river got deeper and deeper. Scuffy did not have to tuck up his bottom. The river moved faster and faster. I feel like a train instead of a tugboat, said Scuffy as he hurried along. He was proud when he passed the old sawmill with its water wheel. But high in the hills and mountains, the winter snow melted. Water filled the brooks and rushed into the little rivers. Faster and faster it flowed to the great big river where Scuffy was sailing. There's too much water in this river, said Scuffy as he pitched and tossed on the waves. Soon it's going to splash over the top, and what a flood there'll be. Soon great armies of men came to save the fields and towns from the rushing water. And here the men are. They're building dams along the edge of the river so the water won't go up onto their lands. And here's a cow on top of a house getting rescued. They filled bags with sand and put them at the edge of the river. They're making higher banks for the river, shouted Scuffy, to hold the water back. The water rose higher and higher. The men built sandbags higher and higher. Higher went the river, higher went the sandbags. At last the water rose no more. The flood water rushed to the sea, and Scuffy raced along with the flood. The people and the fields and the towns were now safe. But look what we see in the middle of this wild river. Some pigs on a little island, a cat up in a tree, the cow on top of a house. And here's Scuffy way over here rushing by. On went the river to the sea. At last Scuffy sailed into a huge city. Here the river widened, and all about were docks and wharves. Oh, it was a busy place and a noisy place. The cranes groaned as they swung cargo onto huge ships. The porters shouted as they carried suitcases and boxes. Horses stamped, truck motors roared, streetcars clanged, and people shouted. Scuffy said, "Toot, toot," but nobody paid attention to him. And here's little tiny Scuffy with these great big ocean-going ships. These are like the size of the ships that we see here in Lake Superior. Can you imagine if Scuffy got to Lake Superior? He would be lost. "Oh no," cried Scuffy when he saw the sea. "There's no beginning and there's no end to the sea. Oh, I wish I could find the man with the polka dot tie and the little boy." Just as the little red painted tugboat sailed past the last piece of land, a hand reached out and picked him up. And there was the man with the polka dot tie and the little boy standing next to him. And here it shows the man reaching out and catching Scuffy just as he comes by. Scuffy is home now with the man with the polka dot tie and his little boy. He sails from one end of the bathtub to the other. "This is the place for a red painted tugboat," said Scuffy, "and this is the life for me." And that is the end of Scuffy the tugboat. Did you like that story? Would you like to have a little red tugboat in your bathtub? I bet you would. Have a good evening. Bye.